Welcome online, ladies and gentlemen. We're just setting up for today's event. So if you've just joined us, please type in exactly where you're watching us from as we get started. There's a 30-second timer. That's your cue to invite anybody else you haven't got on to today's session yet. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your MC for today's event, which is Keith Chazon, Double Diamond all the way from Louisiana.
Well, hey everyone, welcome to tonight's call. I get the honor of introducing the founder of this amazing company, amazing technology. First, I want to recognize that it's quite a few people joining us tonight. I see folks coming in from Canada, Las Vegas, Virginia. I see Jamaica. Make sure you comment in that chat where you're dialing in from. It's always a pleasure to see where the entire Numi Nation is dialing in from. Illinois, Charleston, South Carolina. Just amazing, amazing crew tonight. And tonight's presentation or chat is in English. So for our non-English speaking Numi Nation, we do have captions available. At the bottom of your screen, you'll see a little button that says show captions. Just click that and you can set what language you want to have it in. If you're not English speaking, you might not even understand what I'm saying. But it's down there, show captions. And tonight, every Thursday night, we get the opportunity to bring on the founder of Numi, the founder of this amazing technology, a man who's no stranger to breakthrough technology. He's been bringing breakthrough products and technology to the marketplace for quite a long time, several decades, at least four. And I got to meet Steve just a couple of years ago. My wife Jamie and I got in the car. We drove 8 hours to Dallas, Texas, because I had read this book several times, and to meet the man that was actually the author was quite a pleasure of mine. I was able to not just meet him personally, but understand who he was in depth, from his heart, his soul, his passion for humanity. And so, my pleasure to bring on tonight our speaker, my friend Stephen Scott. Stephen, take it away, brother.
Hey, it's so good to be back. Let me ask you a question. I don't see anywhere at the bottom of my screen captions. Are you sure it's on people's screens?
Yep, working perfectly.
I see it.
I see share screen starts AI companion. Not on
Working
mine.
fine. You don't need it at your end, Steve's working perfectly.
I know. I
as you said.
just want to make sure everybody else has it. Okay, everybody has it. Okay, good. Hate for somebody to miss this. Well, I'm glad to be back. As you can see, I haven't used Just for Men in my beard. I don't color my hair, but I do use Just for Men so people won't ask my daughter, what does your grandpa want? My daughter is 23 and I'm 76. So next time you see me, I'll make sure I've got my normal darker beard. Anyway, so I haven't had a magical spurt of aging. All is well. I'm trying to think what's new. Well, in America, we elected a new president, whether you like him or not. He's pretty successful. And I want you to know, this is kind of crazy. This was my very first book in 1996. I've written about 15 books, and this was the first one. And I got a call from the publisher, and it turns out, as you can see, the endorsement on the front cover is Zig Ziglar, unless you are reading backwards. And he gave me a wonderful quote. Zig said, Steve Scott is living proof that failure is an event, not a person. Why would he say that? Because I flunked out of 9 jobs. In fact, look at the back cover. It says, seeing a resume like this, how would you rate Steve Scott's chances of making millions? That was my resume for my first 6 years after college. I lost 9 jobs. I never made it to half of the average wage earner. And lo and behold, we sent the manuscript out to a number of people. And there was a guy who had written one book. And when I saw his name, I told Simon & Schuster, who was the publisher, can you please put his name on the front? And I love Zig Ziglar. Zig became a dear friend of mine. And let's replace Zig. They said, oh, no. Nobody really knows who this guy is. Zig Ziglar has written dozens of books, has spoken to millions of people. Our entire marketplace for this book is Zig Ziglar, so we'll put him on the front cover. And I said, yeah, but the other guy, how about him? They say, oh, he's only written one book. And this was in 1996. And I said, yeah, but I was told that he has never endorsed a book. This is the first book he ever endorsed. I think that's pretty cool. Let's put him on front. They said, no, we're going to put him on the back. Don't know if you can see that name. Donald Trump. So I've just been notified they're going to move it finally after almost, let's see, 96. So almost 20 years. Let's see, 06, 16, no, almost 30 years old. And look what they're going to do. They're going to take that quote and they're going to put it on the front cover and put Zig Ziglar on the back cover. So last I looked, I think he has since endorsed one other book, but he made a very nice statement about this, and it relates to what we talk about. He said, Steve Scott's uncanny insights and strategies are so specific and easily applied. I believe they can empower any reader, whether a college student, small business owner, that's probably most of you, or the CEO of a Fortune 500 company to achieve levels of success. And here's the part I like the most. Levels of success they haven't yet dreamed of. Now that's pretty cool. Why? Because most people think, this is a free education now, most people think inside, I don't have one handy, but they think inside a box. We'll pretend this is a box. And they think, this is what I can achieve in life. And all of their goals, all of their efforts are bounded by this fenced-in box. And what Trump saw in this book was, he said that to achieve levels of success they haven't yet dreamed of. See, dreams can be outside the box. And what I learned after flunking 9 jobs in 6 years, imagine you get fired so many times, and their firings are never nice. It's never, hey, sorry, we have to let you go. It's one boss said, you're the single greatest disappointment in my entire career. You will never succeed in marketing. You have 20 minutes to clean out your desk. I was only 23 years old, and I was really discouraged when he did that, because he's a marketing guru. I had a degree in marketing, and now a marketing guru of a company of 3,500 people says, I'm never going to succeed in marketing. And he put me inside that box, and I didn't break out of it. You see all the jobs I lost. And my top income was on job number 9. I actually had a pretty significant income, $1,500 a month, US. So that was, but most of my jobs were around $1,000 a month for the first 6 years. And, but I found a group of strategies that allowed me to go from not being able to earn more than $1,500 a month to, at one point, I was earning about $500,000 to $600,000 a month. And so I broke out of that, made millions and millions of dollars, set all sorts of records in marketing, generated 40 million phone calls, 25 million of those with 2 minutes of communication with viewers, television viewers. How could that happen? I never was even chasing money. And my dream was never to make millions. My dream was to make enough money to support my family, and we lived in apartments. We didn't have a home for most of that. And to to support my ministry. I went from atheism in 1964. I was an atheist. I didn't believe in God. I wanted to, but nobody could answer my questions. And then in 2016, I met a scientist. I love scientists because they tend to be logical if they're not biased. And he had been an atheist his whole life. And I went up to him after this meeting of college kids. I was only 16 at the time, and said, Dr. Byers, and this guy's brilliant. He was the head chemical engineer for the third largest aerospace firm in the United States. And I said, Dr. Byers, I'd really like to believe in God, but nobody will answer my questions. And he ultimately said in that conversation, if I give you a book, will you promise to read it? And I said, I'm a 16-year-old boy, guess what? Not a good reader, not a fast reader. And I said, what any 16-year-old boy like me would ask, how thick is the book? And he said, it's only about that thick. So I said, okay, I promise I'll read it. Ladies and gentlemen, here is a copy of that book. So see, it's about a half an inch thick. That's not too thick. I didn't read the whole book. I only read the first 8 chapters, but by the end of the 8th chapter, I had everything I needed to be fully persuaded, 100%, not 99.9, 100% persuaded that God existed. And my whole life changed. It was a Wednesday night in February of 1964. What a night. In my life, now I'm 76, 60 years later. And this same book, which has sold millions of copies, it's called Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis, who wrote the Narnia Chronicles. He was best friends, and the guy that literally best friends, and the guy that reported to him at Oxford University was a guy named J.R.R. Tolkien, who wrote Lord of the Rings. They're best buds. And Lewis was an atheist for the first 31 years of his life. Tolkien had a living faith that God was amazing and wonderful. And every night they took a walk around the campus at 5 o'clock, right after they finished eating. It was 1 hour. And one night, their walk lasted for 3 hours. And C.S. Lewis, all of a sudden, he realized God, it does exist. No doubt about it. And he wrote in chapter 8, which as far as I went, the most compelling argument I have ever read. So I gave my life to the Lord, and my life has never been the same since. You wouldn't be in this meeting right now if that hadn't happened, because this would have never happened. So anyway, Trump noticed that all of these strategies in this book, which told some of my keys, they break down the box, they take down the walls, they take the ceiling off of opportunity. And once the ceiling is off of opportunity, you can achieve things you've never dreamed of. And that's what happened to me. And I say the same thing about this meeting tonight, that it doesn't matter what kind of box you've lived in and how limited you have been. Listen to what he said, what Zig Ziglar said. This is really cool. Through his personal failures. See, failures aren't a problem. Through his personal failures and outrageous successes, Steve Scott reveals surefire principles and strategies that are timeless and right on target. Steve is living proof that failure is an event. You know, you get a monthly commission when you're a NUMMI rep, and 1 month it might be a fraction of what you thought it was going to be. And you go, oh, and you talk to somebody in your downline or upline, and they just say, you wouldn't believe the check I just got. And you think, oh, I'm such a failure. No, you're not. Ziglar said rightfully, failure is an event, not a person. Donald Trump had to go bankrupt several times, but now he's got a net worth. Well, before he started his social network, he had a net worth of 10 billion. That's now worth over 10 billion. So he's got a net worth of over $20 billion. And he failed. Failure is an event. This talks about criticism, making criticism your best friend instead of your mortal enemy. I'm not trying to sell books tonight at all, I promise. But it's, I don't care for most motivational speakers because all they are is cheerleaders. Okay, it's the law of attraction. Oh, give me a break. If it was the law of attraction, I would have never had any success because I didn't attract successful people. No, I partnered with people, and the partnership was how I blew the box apart. Guess what? NUMMI is based on partnering. You have an upline that would love to mentor you, and if they don't, there's somebody above them or beside them that will mentor you. And it wants to turn you into successful, and then you can mentor those around you. Michael lost everything a few years ago, everything. He was living in a friend's apartment and driving an Uber. He lost everything, and he had made a lot of money before that. Guess what? He partnered with me, and guess who became his mentor? A guy named Alex Monterosa that's with our company. And Alex re-mentored. And I shared with Michael, doesn't matter where you are now, you're going to be somewhere completely different. It's just a matter of time. All you have to do is partner with the right person, the right company, the right technology, and all of life changes. So we preach that, we teach that. Anybody, I was in Hungary a while back, and you're not even going to believe this. At 4:30 in the morning till 8 a.m., I was stuck in a bathtub. I couldn't get out. And it was hot as can be because I had created a sauna-like effect in the bathroom, and I'm banging and yelling help for 3.5 hours. And guess what happened? A man who came to pick up some food heard me yelling. He came, room service from the night before. And he opens the door to the room. He doesn't come into the bathroom, but he says, "Do you need help?" I said, "Yes." He said, "I'll get you help. I'll go down to the front desk." I said, No. I'm in room 522. My son's right next door in room 521. And a few minutes later, my dear son, Ryan, rescued me. You see, Proverbs teaches that it's good when two partner, because if one falls down, the other that's standing can lift him up. And that's what happened in Hungary. And then later that day, I was talking to about 800 people. And I literally laid down on the stage and started yelling, "Help, help." And Ryan came up and he did the same thing he had done hours earlier. And I said, that's the value of a partner. You know who my partners are? You're one of my partners. My partners are the people here at corporate. My best partner is my dear sweet wife, Shannon. Who else are my partners? Our scientists, our medical board. Do you know that NUMMI has as far as I know, probably as a for-profit company, has the only unpaid medical science advisory board probably in the world. Doctors from Harvard, Stanford, SC, UCLA, Mayo Clinic. Why? Why would these guys, that some of them are at the absolute top of their profession, some have retired. One created the pain management program for Harvard Medical School. He created that. Another created the most accurate predictor of heart attack the world has ever seen. Only took $64 million and 12 years, or 12 scientists in 12 years, but he did it. And he's on our board. How do we get these guys to be on our board for free? The answer is they have seen our science that I'm going to share with you. And they not only embraced it, they put their clients on it all over the world. We've got one man on our medical board. He's one of the top orthopedic sports medical doctors in the world. He has 19 clinics throughout Europe. Their clients are professional athletes and world-class amateurs. 2 of his marathon clients took 2nd and 3rd in the world championships. And we get his advice. He's even done tests on our products that I didn't even know he was testing. One day I found out he talked to, do you know you delay the, that's not a good Spanish accent. I don't know how to fake a Spanish accent. I can fake a Russian accent. He said, do you know you delay the onset of lactic acidosis by 16.7%? Your product? I said, is that good? He says, is that good? He says, there's nothing in the world that can move that needle, even 1%. You're giving a marathoner 2 additional kilometers before their body even starts making lactic acid. That means they not only perform better, it means they recover much faster because it's lactic acid that destroys muscle cells. That's why you get sore, and you're delaying it by 2 kilometers. Normally, world-class marathoners go into lactic acidosis at the 12th kilometer. If I put them on your product, they don't go into it till the 14th. Do you know what that, I mean, that's crazy. And there's a group that are doing, that did a study, it hasn't been published yet, on horses, athletic horses. And they did some findings that just blew my mind. So I'm talking to Dr. Osorio from Spain, and I say, look at what it did. I mean, oh my gosh. And I started telling him some of these things. He said, you haven't listened to me. We do the same things with humans. I've already told you that. Ooh, Steve Scott is ADD. If my mind's somewhere else, I don't hear anything else from anybody else, you know? And who knows, there might have been a fly on the window when he told me. So what do we have? Well, let's start, and I'll make this quick because this was a lecture that was completely off base, but I just got excited. I only heard today they're going to take that little endorsement. I said, well, don't just say Donald Trump, say 47th president of the United States, then they'll know the book is current. So they're going to do that. And they're going to put it on the front cover. So that sidetracked me. I told you I'm ADD. But here's the good news. We have a product that is the biggest game changer I've ever found. Now, how did I go from, making $1,000 a month to as much as $500,000 a month? How did this guy who was told you will never succeed in marketing, you have 20 minutes to clean out your desk, go to creating marketing records nobody has ever imagined? Can you imagine generating 25 million calls, only having 2 minutes of communication with the people that we're going to call? And I did that. And it wasn't me. I learned some techniques. I shared them in this book. One of our competitors bought the book in 1997, put into practice what was in here, and their sales went from 60 million a year to 450 million in the first year they did this. Then it went to 800 million, and the following year they crossed the $1 billion mark. And at the industry award ceremony, he says, everybody knows I've got to thank my partner, Bill Guthrie, but most of all, I've got to thank Steve Scott for his book. Well, another guy goes out and his sales are only 15 million a year. He buys the book, and the next year he did 150 million, 10 times, right? Why? Because the strategies that you use in life and the skill sets to apply those strategies, they're the biggest game changers of all. So what did I do? We started a little TV company in 1976, where I would find products that I thought were breakthroughs. What's a breakthrough? A breakthrough is a product that can do something that nothing else in the world can do as effectively or efficiently, and sometimes as inexpensively. And our little company, we would acquire the rights to those products. Then we would marry them to a celebrity. I had 93, ultimately, before I retired, we had 93 celebrities on the under contract. Look, there's a wall right there. Those are just 17 of our 93. And it's like Charlton Heston, Tom Selleck, Burt Reynolds, Kenny Rogers, Cher, Jane Fonda. Cool. Some of them are cool. Some of them are real nice. Some of them are not so, between you and me. I won't tell you who's the nuts, but I'll tell you it wasn't Tom. Tom Selleck was an awesome. Now, what we became best known for was the Total Gym, which did billions of dollars in sales. And our spokespersons on that were Christy Brinkley and Chuck Norris. So anyway, I learned how to break out of the box. What we want to do at NuMe is give you the best product I have found in my lifetime. I'm 76. The best science, the best technology that blows me away. We see what it does in people's lives, like all of our medical doctors use the product personally. And then they put their clients on it and like, whoa, look what just happened with him. Look what happened with him. I mean, it's amazing. And so what is it? Well, there's a molecule that I had never heard of until 2006 called glutathione. Glutathione is manufactured by every cell in your body. It's the most important molecule in life, right there with oxygen. Without glutathione, there'd be no life on Earth. Not even little tiny fish or eagles or anything, no people, nothing. All life would disappear without glutathione. It's the most studied molecule in medicinal science. This week on Wednesday, Keith Chazon and some people that he's partnered with in his downline had me on the phone with about 50 doctors in France. And when I do doctor symposium, usually less than half have ever heard of the word glutathione. My son, who is he will complete his heart surgery training in August. When he was in medical school 12 years ago, I looked at his microbiology book. It had one paragraph on the most important molecule in life other than oxygen. What does it do? Well, we'll tell you real quick. 400 different things in the human body that we know about, and there might be 1,000 more that we don't know about. One thing they found out with the horses was they actually saw an improvement in skeletal muscles. I didn't know that. It so reduces oxidative stress. So let's talk about what glutathione is. Glutathione is a tripeptide. It's made by every cell in your body, and you have 37 trillion cells. So that's ought to tell you. And it's a tripeptide. It's made up of 3 amino acids: L-cysteine, glycine, and glutamic acid. It's sewn together through those amino acids through a 100-step electrochemical process. Once it's been perfected in the cell, it remains powerful depending on the cell, from 10 minutes to 4 hours, but the average in the human body is 90 minutes. So the half-life is 90 minutes, and then it has a tail of potency that goes on for about another 30 hours, roughly. But it tails down. So it's half of its life, 90 minutes in on average. And then it has a 6-hour pretty good bang for the buck. And then the tail is anywhere from 20 to 30 hours. And what does it do while it's in the cell? Any one of the 400 functions that the DNA in that cell has been programmed to use glutathione for. So it's used by different cells for different things. Number one, here we'll get in these real quick, is oxygen transfer. When your body makes hemoglobin, the red blood molecule, it is programmed to attach to oxygen and carry oxygen throughout the body. The problem is, in that hemoglobin is iron. And that iron has, when it's right, has a electromagnetic strength of a positive charge of 3. And it can't operate at 3. That 3 has to be reduced to a 2. Now, it actually starts out at 2, but different things that the cell has to deal with, like oxidative stress, like chemical, like toxins and so on, oftentimes boost that up to 3, and then it has to be reduced, and it cannot bind to oxygen as long as it's at 3. So it has to be reduced to a positive 2, When that reduction takes place, then it can bind to oxygen and deliver oxygen to every cell in the body. Glutathione is the only reduction agent of the iron in hemoglobin. So without glutathione, there wouldn't be enough oxygen transfer and we'd all die from lack of oxygen. You know, that's not a good thing. That's one thing it does. What are the other 399? Well, another one, it is the detoxifier of your cells. You see, right now, everybody on this call has at least 200 chemicals that don't belong there, industrial chemicals. And we want to get those out. How can the cell get rid of those industrial chemicals? Well, glutathione is the detoxifier of the cell. It has a sticky arm in the cysteine portion of the tripeptide that is real sticky. It's sulfur, basically sulfhydryl, and it sticks to the chemical and it escorts it out. Guess what else glutathione does? It's a chelator of heavy metals. I talked to someone I know, he is the trainer of here in the United States of one of the very top professional football teams. He said, Steve, I went into my doctor, I got my annual checkup, and he says, I can't even believe you're alive. And he said, why? He said, because you have had a very high level of mercury toxicity. And now that mercury's not there. How did you get rid of it? What do you do? He says, well, I swish a product called NutraSwish. He says, oh my gosh. Well, I know somebody else who almost died of mercury poisoning, and glutathione was the key to chelating that mercury. Now, we have all sorts of toxic chemical of heavy metals. That's the word I was looking for, like arsenic, cadmium, copper, and glutathione is how you get them out of your cells. So that's another job it does. What else? It is the protector of your immune system. Your immune system is designed to protect you from bacteria and viral insults, but what protects it? Glutathione. When you have low levels of glutathione, you see, anytime there's a bacteria or virus that attacks your body, the immune system kicks up, goes into high gear, and it produces assassins that target the bacteria or virus to kill it. And the primary assassins are called T cells. You've all heard of them. And T cells, how fast they replicate depends on the available glutathione. If you have low levels of glutathione, while the bacteria or virus is reproducing like that, low levels of glutathione, your T cells reproduce like this. And guess who wins? We had a pandemic, and people with slow responding T cells got very, very sick and millions died. We want our T cells to reproduce quickly. So this one becomes these, because we want that to happen as fast as possible, because in a situation like we went through in 2020 and 21, if they didn't respond, in fact, there was a brilliant Russian scientist. He did a study, and it was published in the American Journal of Infectious Diseases. It was published in May of 2020, and the title of the article, if you want to write this down, the English title is Low Levels of Endogenous Glutathione. In other words, the glutathione that your cells manufacture, low levels of endogenous glutathione as the cause of severe symptoms and death in COVID-19 patients. And he showed the linkage biochemically. It was amazing. So by and large, most people that had low glutathione levels got very sick and many died. People that had higher levels of glutathione, they made it through. Guess who has high levels? People under 20, kids have very high, because glutathione starts to decline as you age, starting at the age of 20. And as you age, it declines by about 8 to 15% per decade. So if it declines, who's going to take care of the cells? And because the assault on the cells, the desperate need for glutathione never does decline. So you're fighting a battle up here, but then glutathione declines and all the bad guys are up here and you don't have enough glutathione to take care of them. So the immune system, it's critical. What else? And here's what it's best known for. It's called the master antioxidant. Now, I used to not believe in nutrition at all until I met this doctor from the Mayo Clinic who introduced me to glutathione in 2006. And so glutathione, every cell in our body is attacked, and Keith, here comes our first slide, is attacked by 10 to 20,000 cells a day, or 10 to 20,000 free radicals. And what they want to do is they want to steal an electron from that cell. And when they're successful at it, that creates what's called oxidative stress, too much oxygen for the cell to process. And that oxidative stress does many terrible things, but the two worst are, number one, it produces inflammation in the cell. And we don't want inflammation in any cell, but it produces it. The second thing it does, it accelerates the aging of the cell. And whether it's a brain cell, a heart cell, and guess what? You accelerate the cells. Guess what else you accelerate the aging in? The tissues. You accelerate the aging of tissues. What else? You accelerate the organs, the aging of the organs. So do you want your face to grow older faster or stay younger longer? Do you want your brain to grow older faster or stay younger longer? How about your heart, your kidneys, your everything, your intestines? No, we want to, all of our organs, all of our vital organs especially, and our tissues to stay as young as long as possible. Well, these free radicals produce the oxidative stress that produces the inflammation and accelerates the aging. So the body counters that with antioxidants. An antioxidant will donate one of its electrons to the free radical. And when that donation takes place, it sequesters or captures that free radical and renders it harmless. It neutralizes it. And that's great. Problem is, you got 10 to 20,000 free radicals attacking every cell in the body every day. So, Keith, let's show them what 10,000 or 20,000 looks like. Okay, there's 20,000 people in that arena. Picture you're one person on the basketball court, and that would be like one of your cells. And somebody announces to the arena, okay, we're going to pay $1 million to everybody that can land a blow on that guy on the court. Well, instantly, 20,000 people attack the one. Guess who wins? That's what happens every day in your body. Let's show them what happens in 5 days. That's 100,000. So if you survive 5 days, this is how many will have attacked you, between 50 and 100,000. Next. Here, okay, I'm back. I got ahead of myself. So how do antioxidants work? They donate that electron. The problem is there is a spectrum of free radicals. Different sources. Some are sourced in oxygen, some are sourced from hydrogen, some are sourced from nitrogen. They have different sources, different structures, different chemical compositions, and all antioxidants, except glutathione, are monofocused. What does that mean? That means vitamin C can take out this guy and this free radical, type of free radical, but these types it can't even touch. And superoxide dismutase, catalase, vitamin E, CoQ10, okay, they can each take out one type, but they can't take out any of the others. Glutathione is called the master antioxidant. I was in a hotel recently, and my key would open one door. It wouldn't open any other door. But my neighbor that owns a group of hotels, he can ask the front desk, can I have a master key? And that master key will open any door in the hotel, including, he said, the two most important doors. I said, what are those? He said the kitchen and the accounting office. Okay, pretty smart. Anyway, A master key can open every door. Well, glutathione is called the master antioxidant because it can sequester, capture, neutralize all types of free radicals, regardless of their structure source or their composition. Now, we have to deal with free radicals today that our ancestors and even my parents never had to deal with. It's called peroxynitrite, and it's sourced out of nitrogen. And when those microwaves from the cell towers come into your body and react with the nitrogen in your body, it creates peroxynitrite. Peroxynitrite is really vicious, aggressive, and long-lasting. It lives 1 billion times longer than any oxygen-based free radical. And it can even transfer from one cell to another. And guess what it attacks? The DNA. Guess what? As long as the mitochondrial DNA in your cell remains intact, the cell can't mutate and multiply. But when it's broken, all of a sudden the cell can mutate. The cell goes like this. Now it's mutating, and now it multiplies. We call that cancer. What breaks the mitochondrial DNA? Primarily, number one, the chemical load in the cell. And glutathione targets that and lowers the chemical load, like we saw. But the other thing are some free radicals like peroxynitrite go right for the mitochondrial DNA to target it and break it. And now the cell is at risk for multiplying. And so glutathione detoxifies. That's one source of breakage, and it is the master antioxidant. Takes care of that. Takes care of the oxidative stress that creates inflammation and accelerated aging. Well, I'm going to show you something just so we don't stay here too long. What happens when a world-class athlete at the end of his career gets on the product? Now, that guy, he used to be strength and conditioning coach for the National Football League team, the Seattle Seahawks, but he's always been an amateur weightlifter. That means he's drug tested at every meet. And let's go to the chart. And when he was 49 years old, he bench pressed 804 pounds. I think that's around 380, 400 kilos. And that set a world record. He was 49 years old in 2008. Well, in 2018, I called up Bill. He's a good friend, and said, "How you doing?" And he says, "Oh, Steve," he says, "I'm not doing good." I said, "Is everything okay at your job?" "Yeah, everything's good there, but my weightlifting's in the toilet." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah, as you age, you lose lean muscle, and you can work hard, but you gain less traction." He said, "I used to be able to lift heavy 4 times a week. Now I can only lift heavy once a week. My body's racked with inflammation, so I wake up hurt all day, go to bed hurting, so I don't sleep well. And I can only lift heavy once a day." And he said, "My bench is down to 700 pounds, roughly." And I said, "Well, that's a lot of weight for a 59-year-old. He said, "Yeah, it's a world record for a 59-year-old, but I don't get to compete against the elite athletes anymore because they're pushing 800, 900 pounds. I said, "Bill, I have a product that I think is going to change everything." And I told him about our nutritional product called Swish. I don't have a bottle here. We'll show you in a minute. And he said, "What do I do?" I said, "You swish it throughout the day. Anytime you want to lift weight, swish it 5 minutes before your workout and then immediately after." He said, "Okay." So I sent him the product, and look what happened. At 60, he bench pressed 1,050 pounds. I think that's like 480, 490 kilos. Set a new world record at 60 years old, end of his career. And at 62, he benched 1,129 pounds. That's 512 kilos. That's about the weight of a grand piano. 40% more weight than he did in his prime at 49. Okay, back to me. Any athlete, and I have a son that was an athlete. Ryan, for those of you that know him, was a high school national champion in high jump. And when he's now 30, what is he, 30, 93. So he's 31 now. And recently they had a kind of like a charity meet for the family of one of his coaches, and the coach had died. And so Ryan thought, we'll go, I'll high jump. Oh my gosh, he is not in his prime. And that's just natural. You lose lean muscle, you lose speed, you lose everything. And he was shy. He still jumped high. He's 6'1", and I think he jumped 6 feet. So right up to here on it. But he used to jump 6'10", 6'8", 6'10". Aging, everything goes down. Lean muscle, performance, everything. Well, here, this athlete gets on it and goes up. Well, none of you are world-class athletes probably, but you know what? Every single day when you wake up out of bed, you have to perform. Take the kids to school, go run errands, go to work, get through your day, get home, do more work, and then start a new day. Like that happened to Bill Gillespie every day. And you think my life is going to be like that. And for most people it is, until you boost glutathione and your oxidative stress goes down, the inflammation caused by oxidative stress goes down, the accelerated aging slows down because of this incredible molecule. Now, what's the problem? Why don't we all go out and buy glutathione capsules? You can buy them at any health food store. Problem is, when glutathione hits your stomach, it breaks and becomes unusable. Well, what we did, we put it in, we have a technology called Hydrostat. You swish it. We made the particle sizes so small and put them into a processed water that we develop, and it absorbs right into your mucous membranes inside your cheeks and under your tongue. And you know how horses get their absorption? It gets squirted real slowly onto their tongues, and they do this because they want it off their tongue, and get it right on the same mucosa membranes that it absorbs in the humans. And the results have been mind-boggling. They can't believe it. Nobody can believe it. But this was a 6-month study on 50 plus horses. Half got the product, half didn't. And oh my gosh, it was crazy. It's a 9,000-page report. Who reads 9,000 pages? That's 18 reams of paper. That's a big stack. Anyway, I would never get through. Honestly, I wouldn't get through 100 pages. But it's amazing. So anyway, one of our athletes was in an accident, hospitalized for 4 days. She fell off her bike. She was racing in a 100-mile race, and the bike went end over end. She hit the pavement at 22 miles an hour, broke her helmet, knocked her out. They rushed her to the hospital when the first responders got there, and she woke up in the hospital, and her face, it broke her helmet, her face, just road rash, abrasions. The plastic surgeon comes in and says, it's going to take 5 to 6 weeks for that to clear, then wait 60 days, come see me, we'll work on a protocol to take care of the scarring. Well, the day after the accident, she gets this situation. Her husband calls me, she texts me, and I call her husband and I say, she's got something in her vest. Give her that, let her swish. We didn't even have packaged product at the time. I would send out samples from our small production runs. I said, she's got a bottle in her vest, clear liquid, have her swish it. She swishes it, the situation instantly changed. And she gets home. She was hospitalized Saturday, Sunday, Monday, gets home Tuesday night and thinks, hey, this stuff has, is so small, maybe it'll get in there. So she puts it on all the affected areas of her face. Tuesday night, when she got home, 3 times on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And guess what? Sunday, her face is completely cleared. Not a mark, not a scar, nothing. The plastic surgeon had never seen anything like it. I've owned 5 cosmetic and skincare companies in my life. I'd never seen anything like it. And I thought, oh my gosh, we may have the world's best skincare. So Ryan and I, my sweet boy that started this business with me, we pour some in spray bottles, send them out to people and said, spray your face 5 times a day for 8 weeks, take a before picture, take an after picture, and let's see what we have. Well, here came the first one, Sherry Warner, 58 years old. Look at brighter, tighter. Look how it opened up her eyes, smoother. She couldn't believe it. I sent that to my former formulator, who became the head formulator for the company that started Botox or created Botox. And he said, Steve, I hate to tell you, she's had a facelift. No topical product can do that. I said, ours does. He says, you got to be kidding me. I said, no, you ought to see the other before and afters I've got. I sent him back to him. We talked 20 minutes later and he says, Steve, there's nothing in the world like this. I said, I know. So write down these words: tighter, brighter, smoother, younger. That's what describes what happens. Now let's look at a few more before and afters and I'll show you. We'll run through these real quick and then we'll be done. Ryan wanted me to spray half my face. I said, Mom won't go out with me anymore. So I sprayed my right hand, didn't spray my left hand. I was 71 at the time. I'm 76 now. Look at the difference. This lady is 84 years old. She sprayed for 4 weeks. I said, how many, and she swished, how many times did you spray? She said, I don't know. I had spray bottles all over the house, and every time I passed one, I sprayed. So I didn't keep count. But look at the difference. This is another 80-plus-year-old woman, different woman. She sprayed her legs because she thought they looked like old lady legs. And of course, she says I'm 80 plus, so they were old lady legs. I say that now, and I'm only 4 years away from 80, excuse me. This lady owns a skincare salon. She's an esthetician. She doesn't wait 8 weeks. She calls 8 days and says, Steve, look how it opened up my eyes. Where did my pores go? Look how much brighter, tighter, younger. She said, there's nothing in the world that can do that. I said, I know. Let's go to the next one. We'll just look at a few more and then we're done. This lady, this is what she looked like when we met her. Not quite like this. We met her a few months later. But look, it looked like she got the same brighter, tighter, younger looking facelift. She's 60. This was after 6 months. I met her, right? Aaron and I met her when she was 60, the woman on the right. And she looked like she was 45. Next, we'll look at just a few more. There she is, before and after. This guy's 67. Look at the difference. And tighter, brighter, younger looking. Okay, next. Okay, next. There you see, it's obvious. This girl was young, didn't need a lot of help, but her pores seemed to disappear. No makeup here. Go back just one, please. I just want to point something out. Look how even her skin tone is. Now, I owned a makeup company that did hundreds of millions of dollars in sales. That's what you look for trying to do with makeup, and it's hard. And she did it without makeup. Next. That was 3 weeks, 80-plus years old. Next. She was a smoker and consequently had wrinkles that she shouldn't have had. And look what happened. 8 weeks and completely different. Next. Almost done. 6 days. That's crazy. Next. This is in Nigeria. She's 80-plus years old. Her daughter is a doctor and brought her the product. 4 weeks. Look at the melon management in the upper half of her face. That is amazing. Next. Okay, that's in Australia, sun damage. Next. This guy's 94 years old. And we were all blown away. And he said, he says, I like the new look. I look so much better. But he says, I got to tell you, what I like the most is I feel like the guy on the right instead of the guy on the left. Wow. That's about as good a testimonial as you get. I think there's 1 or 2 more at the most. Next. This is the last one. She is 87 in Hungary. 7 weeks, 5 times a day, sprayed her face, and look at the difference. Okay, we're done. Back to me. I've talked way too much tonight. And I only lost 1 person. That's pretty cool. And maybe 2, but we still have a pretty good group. So thank you. We'll be back here Thursday, same time, same Numi.tv. Bring your friends. I won't have the motivational part. I got distracted because I got word today that endorsement is coming up front like I wanted it to in 96. And so we will get those out to you once we get them from the publisher. God bless you all. We give him all the credit for this, for the inspiration of our scientists who developed the hydrostat technology, for the partners here at corporate, for the partners in the field. Believe me, it's not Steve Scott. It's not even any one person on our team. It's everybody. And it's just a miracle. But we rely on you, our wonderful partners in the field, to take the message and take the products, the breakthrough products that can't be purchased anywhere else. Take it to the world. Thank you. And Keith, back to you, or Michael, whoever takes it over.
Back to me. Oh, I tell you, I'm always excited every time I get to hear Steve talk. It just renews my confidence and belief that the hydrostat molecular encapsulated technology is superior among over anything else in the marketplace. And I'm always excited to hear more and learn more. Hey, for all of our NUMMI members globally, we have the new and improved global presentation. The 24-minute version was actually uploaded into the NUMMI app earlier today, just about an hour or so ago, actually. So that is accessible for anyone who's a member, to be able to use that when sharing this amazing opportunity and technology with your family and friends. Until next week, Tuesday night, we got the global presentation coming. It's going to be 7 o'clock Mountain Standard Time on this same Zoom channel, NUMMI.tv. That's 6 o'clock. 7 o'clock Central, 6 Mountain, 5 Pacific, 8 o'clock on the East Coast. That's Tuesday night, the global presentation. So make sure you invite, get your family and friends, folks who might be thinking about it, considering it, has questions, get them on that call, and they will be answered then on Tuesday night.